Bangladesh's temporary government has officially asked India to return former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. This request has sparked a significant diplomatic challenge between the two neighboring countries. Hasina went to India on the 5th of August 2024 after big protests made her quit. The protests were intense, with thousands of people taking to the streets demanding her resignation. India and Bangladesh are usually good friends. They share a long history of cooperation and cultural ties, making this situation even more delicate. So, this request is tricky for India. India hasn't answered yet. The Indian government is carefully considering its options, weighing the potential diplomatic fallout. Bangladesh says Hasina committed crimes against protesters and political rivals. These accusations are serious and have led to widespread calls for justice within Bangladesh. They want her back to face the consequences. The temporary government believes that her return is essential for the country's political stability. They think this is super important for justice. Many citizens see this as a crucial step towards accountability and restoring faith in the legal system. Lots of countries are watching to see what India does. The international community is keenly observing how India handles this sensitive issue. This situation could affect the whole area and how India and Bangladesh get along in the future. The outcome of this extradition request could set a precedent for regional diplomacy and influence future relations. Protests started in Bangladesh in December 2022 because things were getting expensive. The rising cost of living, driven by inflation, made everyday life difficult for many people. Basic necessities like food and fuel became unaffordable for a large portion of the population, sparking widespread discontent. By 2024, the protests got much bigger. What started as small gatherings turned into massive demonstrations, with thousands of people taking to the streets. The movement gained momentum as more people joined in, demanding change and accountability from the government. Students and regular people wanted Hasina to quit. The youth in particular played a significant role, organizing rallies and using social media to spread their message. The general public, frustrated with the lack of response from the authorities, stood in solidarity with the students. They said her government was dishonest and unfair. Accusations of corruption and mismanagement were rampant, with many believing that the government was not acting in the best interest of the people. The protesters' chants echoed the sentiments of a nation tired of systemic issues. In July 2024, things got worse. The protests escalated, becoming more intense and frequent. Clashes between protesters and law enforcement became a common sight, as the government's attempts to suppress the movement only fueled the anger and determination of the people. A huge movement started where people refused to follow the government's rules. Acts of civil disobedience spread across the country, with citizens engaging in strikes, boycotts, and other forms of non-compliance. This widespread defiance showcased the unity and resolve of the protesters. Protesters and police fought, and many people were hurt. The confrontations often turned violent, leading to numerous injuries on both sides. The escalating violence highlighted the deepening crisis and the urgent need for a resolution. Hasina resigned in August 2024 and went to India for safety. Her resignation marked a significant turning point in the movement, as it was seen as a victory for the protesters. Seeking refuge in India, Hasina's departure left a power vacuum in the government. This was a big win for the protesters, but it made things uncertain for Bangladesh. While the immediate goal of ousting Hasina was achieved, the country faced an uncertain future. The challenge of rebuilding and addressing the underlying issues remained, leaving the nation at a crossroads. Things haven't been great between India and Bangladesh since Hasina left. Bangladesh's temporary government says India isn't helping. They think India is hiding Hasina, who they believe is a criminal. But there's a little bit of hope. India and Bangladesh have an agreement about returning criminals, signed in 2013 and updated in 2016. This agreement could help get Hasina back, but it might not be easy. Some parts of the agreement about political crimes could make it complicated. Also, it's not clear what kind of proof is needed. Important people are involved in this situation. The political landscape is highly charged, with significant figures playing crucial roles in shaping the narrative and influencing public opinion. Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel Prize winner leading Bangladesh's temporary government, really wants Hasina back. He believes her leadership is essential for the country's stability and progress. He says she committed terrible crimes and needs to go to court. Yunus argues that justice must be served, and the legal process should be transparent and fair. Hasina's son, Sajib Wazed, says his mother is innocent. He passionately defends her, stating that the accusations are baseless and politically motivated. He says she's being unfairly targeted for political reasons. Wazed emphasizes that the charges are part of a larger scheme to undermine her influence and discredit her achievements. This makes things even more tense between the two countries. The diplomatic relations are strained, with both sides unwilling to compromise or back down. Most people in Bangladesh want Hasina back. The public sentiment is overwhelmingly in her favor, with many believing she is the rightful leader. They want her to be responsible for what they believe she did wrong. However, they also want her to have the opportunity to clear her name and prove her innocence. They think the only way to get justice is for her to have a trial in Bangladesh. The public demands a fair trial, believing it is the only path to true justice and resolution.